Well, they just got here and I didn't want to interrupt. She had already put on the site that we weren't gonna have Zoom because of technical difficulties and whatever, because technically they weren't here, so I couldn't grab the laptop, so. I don't wanna confuse everyone. Okay, we're on the air. Okay. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of the Cemetery Commission at Lunenburg Town Hall in the Bill Ricca Meeting Room. It is July 25th. It's 9 a.m. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So I have a few things to read, and then we can start with the meeting. So, in accordance with the requirement of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcasted live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube after the meeting. Unfortunately, right now, we are having some technical difficulties, so we will not be, we won't be on Facebook at this time. There won't be any Zoom that you can get into, so my apologies. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on the notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote access and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technical problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public will, with particular interest in any specific items on this agenda, should make plans for in-person attendance and virtual attendance accordingly. A member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with the reasonable requirements attending audio or video equipment established by the chair so as not to interfere with the meeting. The chair is requested to inform other attendants of such recording at the beginning of the meeting. If someone arrives after the meeting has begun and wishes to record the meeting, the person should attempt to notify the chair prior to the beginning of recording, ideally in a manner that does not significantly interrupt the meeting progress. The chair should endeavor to acknowledge such attempts at notification and announce the fact of any recordings of these attendants. Is there anyone recording today? No. The agenda lists all the topics that may be discussed at the meeting, and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may be in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for the discussion permitted by the open meeting law. Public participation is encouraged, and public comments may be welcomed during committee member discussions at the discretion of the chair. Please note that the public comments that you have 3 minutes to give your public comment. Thank you. Okay, so do we have any public comments today?
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I just came from the North Cemetery, and
Do you want to come up here and state,
Oh.
sorry,
my
Sorry.
first meeting of them.
yeah. And state your name, Mr. Rogers.
Sure. My name is Dave Rogers. I live at 82 Highland Street, and I just came from the North Cemetery. And as you go down Highland Street, take a right. I ended on the first right, and it looked fine. It was really in great shape. I traversed around, and there's a young man out there who I tried to convince to come to 82 Highland Street to do some stuff at my place. He says, I'm really busy. But anyway, there's a young man down there with a weed whacker, and he's working diligently. As you go further north, that area has to be done, which is progressive, I understand. And as I was exiting, I saw somebody over at the building and a town truck and a mower outside, so I'm sure that that's part of the process. So I'm pleased to report that from my vantage point, just a Joe citizen, it looks a heck of a lot better than it did before, and I thank whoever is responsible for that. It's an ongoing project, I'm sure, and, you know, we're making headway, as they say.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
It's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, let's review and approve the minutes from June 20th, 2024.
Okay.
The minutes may be underneath there.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Are you done with them?
Yes, my only comment is I don't think all the open meeting law notice is required on, especially the meeting minutes.
Well, I need to check that out, and the reason I put that on there is because I was told there was, and that's why I had all the templates for it. I will double check, because you may be right and I may be incorrect, but that's why I put that on there, because I know you had done the meeting minutes, and then I put that in there. So there was a time that they did need them, but again, that may have changed, but I will find out from the higher-ups on that.
Yeah, no, I find them distracting. I find them distracting on the agenda too.
Okay.
I had called the open meeting law hotline, and I know our town, not us, it's the town policy to
Right.
put, but it's not required. It's just, the only thing that's required is the board that's meeting, the time, and the date,
Yep.
and the Zoom. So I think, I just find it encumbersome that we put all this verbiage up front, and then it kind of takes away from the real content
Okay.
of what we're trying to do. And I'm talking across the board here in Lunenburg. You know, if you go to the agenda board and you just see this
Right,
several paragraphs, and then there's a short agenda at the bottom.
yeah,
I looked at the town of Concord, and their posted meeting minutes. It's just the board, the time, the date, and
Yeah.
the content.
but again, the select board was the one that made this, or, I'm not even sure, I don't even want to state that, make that comment, because I don't know, but all I know is that when I first joined, that's what they said that we needed to have on there, so, until, again, I just have to find from the higher-ups and go from there, and I just met with, Attorney Costa, so we can find out from that, too.
Okay.
But yes, I hear you, I do, and yes, it does, a little bit, it's, you know, and me even reading it, so,
Yes, it just is cumbersome on yourself and.
okay. So, are we ready to vote? Make a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the June 20th minutes.
Okay. Anybody want a second?
I'll second it.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Bill, do you want to go over some items with us, discussions?
Sure.
Okay,
So since the last meeting, there's been 6 burials. There was 1 full burial and 5 cremations. All the grass was mowed in the 3 cemeteries before Independence Day. A total of 170 man-hours was required for that cut, and that was about 9 hours less than the first cut. So what we're finding now, though, is the grass has really slowed down. So in May, it was probably growing an inch or more a day. Now it's growing an inch or less per week. So we've already completed the 3rd cut in the north, and that was only 73 hours to complete as opposed to 108 hours the previous time. The South Cemetery, the third cut, we didn't even think it needed it yet, so the north had longer grass, so we jumped into the north again. So we're working on the fourth cut in the north. Once that's completed, we'll go back to the south because it needs it now for the third cut. And I think, to Mr. Rogers' comments, I think because the grass was growing so fast in the spring, it was hard, right? It took, just the north alone was 100 hours. So that's, with two guys, it's almost 2 weeks. So if it's growing an inch a day, the stuff they cut 3 days ago was already 3 inches higher, right? So that's why it didn't look even. But now it's growing slow, so, we cut it and it looks pretty much even across. And it's taken less time. In the spring, the grass was wetter. It's harder to bag and pick up. It takes more time. Now it's nice and dry. You can fly right over it, pick it right up. Let's see. So labor-wise, we have the cemetery superintendent. We have one seasonal laborer. The second seasonal laborer, we finally got through. He's starting tomorrow. The first guy is actually going back to school in, I think, 2 weeks. So we're in the process of hiring a third. So by the time he's on board, we'll only have the two. And the Department of Corrections, when I spoke with them, they said they could only help us out occasionally. So, I asked them, can you come before holidays? And they said they would. So unfortunately, we can't get them every week. I think that's it for an update.
So the next holiday they'd be coming for is?
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll reach out to them soon and make sure they're on the schedule for typically 2 weeks before and then 1 week before. Try to get them once in the north and once in the south, something like that.
And then Lakeview will come in for that holiday too?
If necessary. If the grass is still slow, we probably won't need them. But typically the grass picks up a little bit in the fall, so we'll see how it goes. Play that one by ear.
But when
for
will you
now.
make that decision?
Probably 2 weeks before, so
Okay.
what's that, second week in August?
So you make that around the second week in August, is what
Yeah.
I heard? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, the rest of my paper there it just follows your agenda. Just go along,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess. Yeah.
All right, so we'll go back to, all right. So on the illumination, it looks like here that you did get that quote for that?
I did, so
Okay,
I gave you a copy of that. It's just an email, but $650, right? Put the solar lights on and includes the lights, the bucket truck, and labor, so
so
I think that's-
650 for each one, or 650 total?
total, yeah,
So total for north and south?
correct.
Okay. Do we want to make do we want to vote on that today to get that, so we can get that one thing checked off our box? Or what do people think, or is there any questions?
We can vote on it if you want.
What do you
For the
think?
lights.
Yeah, for the
Oh,
lights?
yeah, sure.
Okay. So do you want to make a motion to vote?
I make a motion that we accept the payment of $650 for the illumination of the lights at North and South Cemetery.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, it's passed. Wonderful, we can get that. Bill, do you want to take care of that, or do you need me to do something on that?
I'll give Mike a call and tell him, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and do,
Yeah.
and then, get the information, and then we'll get it to Ezekiel.
That's
And
gonna be probably the North Cemetery where that stone is near it to shine up to the flag?
The lights we're looking at, they look like a ring that sits on the top of the pole and shines down.
And then shines
Oh.
down.
Yeah,
And it's solar?
solar, yeah.
Okay. So it's gonna be right on top of the ball of the,
Yep, just underneath the ball and it'll shine
underneath the
down.
ball?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay. Okay, so that's great. I'm glad we got that off our plate.
Yeah.
And you said you're gonna get back to him, so maybe next week they can do that, or the week after?
Yeah,
Couple weeks.
I'll let you know what his schedule looks like.
Okay, great. Okay, so we saw your information. I printed out this that you had sent, Bill, which is the, I just don't use, and that's fine, the family name. So there's another family that has left and would like to have, I think did I give you one? Would like to have money back. So if you guys want to read that, and then, so that gives us 4 plots back. Correct, Bill?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, so the family moved out of Massachusetts a while ago. They actually disinterred a body before they moved, so they definitely don't want the plots.
Okay,
But they did purchase the plots, what did we say, 36 years ago.
okay,
So, I would recommend not refunding the perpetual care, because we've been doing it for 36
Right.
years.
I agree. I mean, that's just my thought too, is,
Yeah.
that's fine, the $200. The only other thing that's been brought to my attention, and it's probably a good thing to have, is the paperwork is somehow, and maybe we, again, at another meeting, we can push this off, but to discuss, we had already talked about a package that we wanted to put together that is given out, and on that package, we should probably put in there that refunds, if people do leave the area or whatever and they need refunds back, it could take us up to 60, 90, I mean, probably not 90 days, but we'll say at least 30 days, because by the time we get it, by the time we sign it, by the time we get it to Ezekiel, it's gonna take time. And that was my thought process on that, if everybody thinks the same way, or any thoughts on that? What's your thought?
Oh, I kind of missed a little what you were saying.
Oh, sorry.
I was-
So what we're saying is, it doesn't say anywhere, like when a family buys a plot and then they leave the area and they want to, get their money back, is that, and that's fine. I think we should be better about, and it was brought to my attention by someone, that we should probably put on there, if refunded, then it's gonna take us, like I said, 60 days, if that's what's we think is proper. Because otherwise, families don't know, how long is this process gonna take? Because like I said, by the time we sign it, by the time we get it back to Ezekiel, and I think Ezekiel only pays or makes checks out certain times of the week or month. So it could take up to, like I said, that 30, 60 days.
Oh, sure, or 90.
Or 90.
I mean, from here, they moved out in 2017, so
Yeah, I mean,
there wasn't a rush to request a return of funds, so
right.
Yeah.
I think, and not that it's complicated, but it sounds like they had a person buried, they disinterred them, so,
Right. We're just saying, though, for future, if there's someone else that, is still
Right.
here and,
Right.
really wants to try to get their money back sooner rather than later. Okay, so do we want to vote on this, that we, again, are we all in the agreement, $200?
Yes.
Perpetual care, yeah, 36 years of taking care of it. No, I agree. Do you agree with that, Mike?
yeah, and my last thought is maybe to, write specifically how the refund policy would go, if they're vacant lots and not used versus a use, or, and, once you buy the lot, do you lose the perpetual care fund? If it's vacant, or, yeah. It would be mowed as a vacant lot.
So it's- you would
If
lose
it
it.
was purchased or not.
We'd lose the perpetual care.
Right.
But I think that should be, as soon as you take ownership, maybe it is documented, I don't know.
That's why I was gonna to bring,
I don't believe it is documented.
Right, right.
They're few and far between, but we
Right,
have had like
right.
3.
Yeah,
And there was one, they purchased the lots only a few years ago, so we said, well, yeah, maybe they should get the perpetual care back.
right,
But
Right.
the other ones were, 20-plus years, so
Right,
that's pretty
right.
obvious, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think my thought is with the state, is that are we at code on everything that we're doing as far as what's passed out? Are we at the same rev as someone else in other cemeteries? That's my only concern as far as the state level. So that's why, again, and we can move this on again to the next one, kind of talk about the paperwork, because did you bring that paperwork? All
Yep,
of
it's
it?
in your packet.
Oh, okay.
So
Are you
I have
ready to, do you,
a blank form and then a form that's filled out so you can see what it looks like. Because the blank form's a little vague.
yeah, okay.
But I believe this form covers the requirements of the state. I went back, found the form they used like in the 70s and one they used in the 50s, and they're essentially the same. It's been the same forever.
Yeah, the only thing I'm questioning, like I said, and the only reason I'm questioning it is, and I don't have it with me, is that when I reached out to Fitchburg, and they had gotten the newest, greatest from the state level, and I don't think it looks like this. That's what I'm questioning. So can we put this on to the next
Let's
one,
put
and
this-
I'll bring the paperwork with me and talk, just to make sure that all of us are doing the right thing on that?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to move that. What were you going to say, Dave? I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, maybe we should put this on hold and,
Yep.
so
But I think we-
can vote on the
Right, but I think we can
motion.
vote for,
Huey, or the
right,
other person.
yep, okay. So do we want to make a motion to vote, and we're going to give them just that $200 back? Are you in agreement with that, Mike?
Well, the form here and back, is this the same charge? Maybe not.
I think he was just showing us an example.
Oh, that's just an example?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to relook at
Okay,
this again,
yeah.
because I think,
Sure.
again, and it may be fine, but I'm just saying. But are you okay with accepting this, and so we can
Sure,
refund the
sure.
money?
I can make a motion to refund the $200, to refund $200 to the family for the return of 4 burial lots to the cemetery department.
I second the motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
So the total on this, I want to make sure I just got this right, is 650? No.
Yeah, so it was 200 for burial rights,
Right.
300 perpetual care, and 150 for the burial.
Right, but we're not going to, but out of that 650, we're not going to give back that 300, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and the 150.
And
The
100,
150, so we're all giving back the
Just the
200.
200.
Okay,
right, right, just the cost of the lots, yep.
Okay. Got it. Okay, and we've accepted that motion.
Just curiosity, can families sell their plots privately? Can they do a private transfer, or no? Lots have to be returned to the town and then,
Yeah, I don't think they can
Okay.
sell them privately.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think we kind of talked about that a while ago. I think what we came up with, let's say my husband and I are gonna move. We know 2 parties, let's say you and Kathy haven't bought a grave yet, and I approach you and say, have you guys got a grave? And you say, no, we haven't. Well, how about we all go to the town and do it that way? But it has to be, but not,
Yeah.
John and I just sell it to Kathy and Mike. Does that make
Right,
sense?
and even that, you're kind of brokering a deal where maybe there's someone else in
Well,
line for
They're first come,
first.
first serve, right?
Yeah, so you would, I would think
I
you
would think you would just want to make
return
it
it to
clean
the
it, right,
town.
Right,
The
return it
town
to the
says,
town.
well, here's your name
Right.
on the list. If-
right.
That's a good question, though, because the town is selling a deed.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good question.
Yeah.
Since they sold the deed, do you have to return the deed,
Right, right.
or can you just sell it to? That's something that should be looked into.
Actually, now that you mention that, did they give you back the deed of this?
Not
Or-
yet, we haven't sold it, I
Well,
haven't bought it back.
You haven't
yeah.
bought it back yet, but you will get that. Because think about
What
that.
about the other
Yeah.
people that we've done this
Yeah,
for?
that's a good question,
Have
I'll
they
have to look
given
into
you back
that.
the deed?
I don't think we were thinking that until you just
Yeah.
whoever brought that up. I'm gonna write myself a note on that. So
Yeah,
we're gonna put
definitely.
that, talk about that the next one. So Bill, you're gonna find that out?
Yeah,
What exactly is that? You're gonna look into deed?
Well, the ones that we've already given money back, we're just saying, we weren't thinking this way. The deed should probably come back to us. If we're giving them money back and then that deed, because you're gonna resell that lot again.
I don't know if they have to physically hand it back, probably not.
Well, again, it should be in Rainmaker. So if the deed is still in there,
Yeah,
well, I don't know, because that
question
could.
for council. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
you know what, I'll take that then,
Yeah.
and I'll get a hold of Attorney Costa.
Yeah.
Maybe we're overthinking it, but, okay. Okay, what's the next? So, what I did is there anything more on yours? Actually, Bill, is there anything more on yours? No.
On the family plot issue, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay, so, when I asked Ezekiel about the financial piece of Bartholomew and Company, I think the very first meeting, Mike, you were in, you had mentioned about, what are we getting for percentages, what does it look like? Where are we now as far as how much money we have in our different funds? And so, with that being said, I just need that for a minute, because I don't know what I did with mine. So, right now, we have about 88,000 in our sale of lot funds. So, and again, this isn't this is before the end of the year. So, we will have, as you go down through the capital funding, cemetery perpetual interest, so on and so forth, it will change a little bit, because again, they're still working on those numbers. The investment income that I see here that I sent, or that I gave to all of you, Ezekiel had given me this morning, is the sale of lot interest. So each year's 2024, 2023, 22, 21, and he took us back to 2020. We're making $1,800, $1,700. 2022 was not a good year, which was 906. And then 21 was 1,400, and then 2020 was 1,700. He shows what the sale of lot refunds that we've given back, which was at 1,750 and then that 150. So in 2024, we gave 1,750 back to some of the families, and then there was 150 back in 2022. So, and it shows us the expenses, what we're spending, so on and so forth. The thing that I would like to know, and Ezekiel couldn't answer it today, because again, they're trying to get the books all caught up, is I want to know what the percentage is, and I think, Mike, you were also the one, and maybe Dave too, that had mentioned this, is, what are we getting across the board? Ezekiel's saying that the town's doing well with it, that's wonderful, but I'd still like to know what that is. Is that 5%, is that 4%, what is it? It's taking us since 2017, we were in the red. In 2017 was when we did the niche wall And I believe if it wasn't the niche wall, then it was the building, or it was the combination of both. So we're talking about, we took out about almost $85,000, like 84 something. It put us in the red. The town was kind enough to let us do that, and it's been this long to get it back. And it's not that we're not trying to, we will spend something at some point in time when we have a project to do that with. But I think the most important thing is to be sound, meaning with the money, and I think we've done that, and that was Bill Tyler's vision, is to get that back starting in the right direction, which I think, we've done. The interest that we're coming in from the perpetual care, because we can only use that, is that, again, on 2024, it was 4,900, 23, it was 46. In 2022, it was only 2,200, and then 21 was 4,200, and then in 2020 was 3,000. So I think there's a need to, again, look across the board, and that takes us into the next piece, which is the Finance Committee upcoming meeting on the 8th of August. The Finance Committee just wants to see what we're doing, what our plans are with some of this money, and just kind of like check and balances. So I think it's important to, to give them this information. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts on this?
I would think if this is the same money that the town is investing, you would think that they're looking at this on a monthly or quarterly basis as if
Well, that's
they're
what,
getting the right interest, if they're getting the most out of it.
well, and what's
So-
gonna happen is it may change each quarter, depending on what the market's doing. Is the market up, is the market down, depending on how they've invested those investments.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom. I wanna know what we're getting percentage-wise. I mean, if you guys are all in agreement to that,
I'm in agreement with that, yeah. I would think that someone in the town is looking at this 3, 4, 5 times a year,
I think they are.
quarterly or whatever. So I'm hoping that we're making the most out of it. And we're not just being very laid back and not looking at it.
And I can't answer that until
Yeah.
I get Ezekiel
Right.
for that.
Right.
But I think it's a good point. Mike, you got any?
No, I'm just looking at, to the principal versus interest. So we got a perpetual care fund, but then we have a sale of lots fund, which kind of follows what our thing was. Okay, so each thing's in a separate bucket.
Right.
Okay. And then where can we spend from? You get the sale of lots, a principal and interest.
Yep, so you can, right, I mean, technically, we're not gonna spend that 88,000, but you don't wanna bring it to zero, so you could spend, 86, that, whatever.
Right,
The amount.
right.
Remember, this 10,000's coming out, so that's gonna drop that to 78, once this goes to July. This 7,000 will add in that 10,000, and we'll be, right now, we've got
Yeah.
a capital article that we can spend 17,056.
Okay,
And then the perpetual care, we still have that. That one is the interest. We can spend that amount. We haven't done anything there. That's 16,000 there. And then this is what we can't spend, obviously, that 226.
so that's the perpetual care is what we can't spend.
Right.
But we can spend the interest on it.
Right. And
Everything else we can spend,
right.
the balance. Okay,
Only thing I want to look at, and this is my personal opinion, as far as having an MBA, looking at numbers and so on and so forth, is the fact that I know, and we're not a large town, but we're a big enough town, that I know some of the cemetery commissions have almost $1 million in their perpetual care. Now, that was an aggressive for them to do that, and we're talking, again, the same amount of people, the same kind of cemetery. I'd love to have seen how they got to their piece. I would also like to see how the library has done, because they separated themselves from the town. And they have an investment firm that's doing theirs. Again, that's something to talk about, it's something to see, because again, we're still at that 200 and whatever thousand, which isn't a lot of money. If you guys are thinking the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, because I've been here for 3 years so far, this is the fourth one,
And it
we're
hasn't-
not changing
We're not
anything.
gaining
You know,
much,
so we're
right.
not even, wherever they're investing, we're not really getting much out of
Exactly.
it. So we can't do some of the things without requesting, grant money or this money or that money. We can't fix up the cemeteries the way they should be. We got things, the pumps are going down, the wells are going, that we can't fix them. So, we gotta figure a way that we're able to get some more income.
But the day-to-day maintenance and upkeep is all in the DPW budget, right? So this is under cemetery commission purview to
Right.
save or spend. Okay.
I mean, there's some things that we do try, to help out with, we did the not landscaping, we did some of that one, last year. But we did, with Dillis and Roy, we did that, getting that ready as far as surveying and stuff, so that was what, 45, 42, something like that, 100. And so there are places, and like I said, we'll talk about the opera piece of it next. So again, this isn't against the town or against Bartholomew or anything, we just want to understand the numbers, and I think that's, quite frankly, I think that's what the finance committee would like to see too, they want to understand numbers too. And it's not just us, they're gonna go across the board. So, if, any other discussion on this?
Just one, so when we talk about and even charging for perpetual care, what is perpetual care versus everyday upkeep of the cemetery?
It falls
that-
underneath the everyday,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same.
it's the same.
it's the same.
We haven't separated that out, it's just,
Okay.
I think years ago they used to. Like if you had perpetual care, that was like above someone else that didn't have it. Now it's pretty much the law, or not so much the law, but pretty much cemeteries have now come in, perpetual care. Everybody gets it, and this is what it is. Do you need more money in your budget? Is that what you're looking at for that piece?
To meet the standards that the commission has put forward, yeah, I need more money to reach those standards.
How much more do you need, do you know?
That's something we could talk about, I guess, but
Okay,
depends on
say-
how we want to get there, I guess. I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
But this charge to buy a plot in perpetual care that's going into the perpetual care fund. You're not billing out of that fund for
No.
maintenance.
Correct.
So that's perpetual care of what we charge somebody purchasing a lot is for maybe upkeep of entrance signs, walls, new work being done, aesthetics, but it's not day-to-day maintenance.
But if you think about perpetual care, this one here was $300 for perpetual care. And that was in 2017. How far $300 goes
Right,
for mowing?
right.
for-
It
for-
doesn't. So
you know,
it's really maybe
so-
cleaning stones, it's
I-
this and that, right.
Well,
Yeah,
no, we don't clean stones. The only time we're gonna clean
Well,
this.
it could be, could be.
Right, okay, yeah. If you got a big enough, right.
Right.
Right, I got, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think that it's very, how much we charge for perpetual or for taking care of the cemeteries, okay? And it's so low that you're probably gonna use that up in 6 months, and here the person's been since 2017. So I know years and years ago, and we're talking about probably 20, 30 years ago in another state where my parents were, they charged every month. You got a bill. Because
Right, and that's what they used to be.
that,
Right,
yeah,
but we, yeah,
but
that went,
we're not doing that,
no.
you know.
So either we need to rethink that whole piece, like Mr. Rogers said today, is that, you know, his comment was that, you know, things were looking better, things were looking good. I think to keep it at that standard, I think we need to go back to the town and say, okay, you need X amount of dollars more to be able to fund that, to get that in the right area. Now, we know we have some of the ones that we've gone out to and asked how much they would charge, and I think, I'm just remembering from the numbers, about 66,000 for this season, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's about
Okay.
what we were looking at.
So we either have to figure out, okay, is that the number? Is that the number we need, is 66,000 more to put in there? To make, again, the town happy, the residents that live here, the cemetery commission, to make it look the best that we can make it look, I would say.
And then we're gonna have to explain then how we're gonna use the 66,000. Is it, you know, because we got the same people, so are we gonna bring in help? You know, like
Well, I think
Cut-
you'll have no
to-
choice.
to contract help or what, to finish that? Because to keep it the way you said, that Dave said today, and it's really in good shape, you had help to do that too, in the past.
Right, right, so I think what we're talking about is adding, say, $66,000 to the cemetery purchase of service line item,
Right.
which can be used to hire contractors.
Right.
Right, that's one way to go about it. Another way might be to add another full-time person,
Yeah,
Yeah,
which would be probably around the same amount of money, but would have them year-round. We can use them for snow and ice, save some money there, so, you know, it's a discussion we have to have.
Okay. So let's table that again, that next piece of what exactly that number is gonna look like. If you can do some of, you know, if you think that number will stick with that number, if you think that's a good number or not, as far as, you know, what it's gonna take.
Okay,
Does that sound reasonable?
sure.
Okay. So we talked about that. We'll come back again with the Bartholomew again, maybe at our next meeting. Finance meeting again is gonna be on August 8th that I'll be attending. I wasn't sure, have they asked you to be part of that, Bill, or no?
They have not.
Okay. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it was just for the cemetery. It was, I had reached out to Ezekiel and actually Adam, because Adam is the one that really knows, or excuse me, Attorney Costa, that knows the insides and out of the perpetual care, what it means, what we can do, what we can't do by the law. So that's why he was gonna be called in on that, but I think Ezekiel's has talked to him, and we're gonna have everything set for that.
oh, what's the location of the meeting and the time?
I know it's on a Thursday night, I believe it's here, and I have got not farther than that. I think it's 7 o'clock, but don't quote me on that. I haven't
that's what it
seen
is.
the actual agenda for it, so I'll reach out to Evan and ask that. While we're still on a little bit of the grass thing, let's jump over to, I know you've been researching the mowers. Are you ready to give a report, or do you want to move that to the next meeting? Because I know you were still doing some research on that.
Right, no, I haven't done much more. It was
Okay.
just looking at, you know, the challenges of keeping up with the mowing, and being on joining some Facebook pages on cemetery care and maintenance that was mentioned. It seems to be advantageous in areas that aren't in the area that have visitors and leaving, you know, putting mementos and all. established areas where you can well map it. And they have a range of, from less than an acre to 1 acre to 2.5, and then possibly up to 6. But they charge and recharge, so they're not going out and doing a
Right.
entire cut. You're doing probably 25% of the rated, you go back and charge. So it's a couple days to meet what they're rated for. It's not they just go out and run this in 3 hours. So it just seemed like a good idea for the town to look into too, of where that can take some of the workload off in areas that are, just set. This is what you're gonna do, how you're gonna mow, and free up manpower for the more, challenging tasks. And so I wanted to touch base with the Green
Right, I
Communities
know you said you wanted to do that.
Committee
Okay,
to see
so
if
we'll-
there's any thing there that,
Okay. So again, I hate to keep moving things, but I think we'll move that to talk about that even more. And the other thing is, maybe you can find out if someone will let us do a pilot program. What do you think?
Sure, I'm willing to try. My only concerns are, the mowers, are they gonna bump into things? And they say they have sensors, but, with all the headstones and the decorations around, are they gonna get confused? Can they handle the hills, the rough terrain?
yeah, they're pretty,
No.
some of them are rated for very hilly and terrain. I mean, there's a gentleman over on by Whalum that has a big sloping round hill, and the mower just, it's,
Oh, there's one that's already going?
oh, yeah,
Oh.
across from the
Yeah.
town beach.
Yeah, occasionally that one gets stuck, that's another problem.
Yeah, so and that would probably, I don't know what that's rated for, but some of
Yeah.
these would be more rugged and
Yeah.
robust.
How would they work though when at the North Cemetery, they have a lot of the roots coming above the ground and,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
It would have to be
concern.
mapped out. I think most of the time it can traverse obstacles, depending on the model.
I mean, my thought is just put it in the area that's not, maybe that older section, because there isn't a lot of roots there. It has to go up the hill a little bit, but start in an easy section to see if
The
put it
new
out in the
section,
field
yeah.
before it's built up to see if it can handle that. I mean, I'm just bringing that out,
Yeah.
but maybe we can get, like I said, on someone that has a pilot program that would allow us to have it for a little while. And we can send it over to Dave's afterwards.
That's it.
So I just looked real fast, and the website that came up, it was one of the manufacturers, and they kind of showed it in a football field and a baseball field. There was nothing with obstacles,
And
you know?
like I said, we're just at the
Yeah.
first stages of research of this thing, because again, trying to think outside the box to see, what else might be. It may be absolutely not, but
Yeah.
I think it's worth Mike's time to
Yeah,
still research if you're,
sure.
at least get, like you said.
Yeah, if you could do a demo, that would help me a lot to,
Right,
prove that it
exactly.
would work.
Yeah. So a pilot demo,
I can send you what I put together too.
Sure.
okay. Okay, so we'll keep going with that. So the next piece is, and let me grab my. So remember we talked about the South Cemetery, and we talked about the hedges there, Bill.
Yeah.
So I think you had a copy of this, I'm not sure if you did either.
Thank you.
Which is at 2625.
Yep.
But I think we were the ones that said that we would cover that. We had talked about that a while ago.
Yes.
Okay. The one thing that Heather had asked for procurement, and I made sure that they put in exactly what they're doing for us over there. So if everybody's okay with this, let's vote on this today, because I don't know if they'll get it in by the end of next week. I'd have to find out from Lakeview, but, or if that's something you want to call them on because you did, or however, or you want me to, that's fine, is find out if they can either make it next week, the week after, or something like that. I know they were trying to get it in July, I remember the time frame is what they told me, July, August.
Yeah, my only question back then was, when's a good time of year to do it?
He said, I asked him that, and
Yeah.
I hadn't gotten back to you, so I think basically what I heard is July, August timeframe.
Okay. And the only thing I would say is just give us a day or two heads up when they're coming in, so we make sure we
Okay.
can supervise it.
Okay,
And I'm sure they will.
okay.
Can I ask, when you say supervise it, if they're trimming the hedges, are you gonna say, well, don't trim that, trim this?
No, that's their decision.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I just wanted to, because you used the word supervise.
You just want to know when they're going to be there?
Yeah,
Okay,
To coordinate, yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
okay. All right, so if everybody's okay with this price, this is, what Matt had given me, or Lakeview? Is everybody?
Make a motion, we accept the,
Wait,
Oh,
sorry.
I just have one question, though. Is this typical work that you would source out anyways? Like your DPW isn't really a hedge trimming and pruning operation, or?
Yeah, yeah, it's a big job.
Yeah,
And could we do it? Yeah, we could do it. Would it take away from mowing? Yeah, it would, so.
All right, and we had, on the South Cemetery, we had said that we were gonna take care of
Right,
this, so
right.
that's why I'm gonna make sure we take it out of our budget piece. Okay, you wanna make a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the Lakeview's proposal here. The quote for 2625 to do the South Cemetery trimming and pruning of the shrubs.
Anybody second?
Second,
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Good, we'll get that done. I'll take care of that. The next piece is, let's go right on to, and then we'll go back to the opera funding, is Rainmaker. So Rainmaker is coming up in August. We need to pay for the software and the, one is maintenance, I think, an $800 fee for maintenance, and then the $1,200. Did you have this?
The cost estimate, no.
Please give that to him, please. You and I are gonna share this one. and then we'll do that one today. So that's the cost each year that we do. We'll put the next one of an additional license, we'll talk about that later. We'll put that on the next piece. But is everybody in favor for this? Because we do need to get that back to them so they can get paid this year's.
Yep, I'm in favor.
Make a motion?
I make a motion, we pay Rainmaker for the license
2,000
for 2,000, or
total.
$2,000, okay.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
So again, one is the 1,200 is for the service license, and then the maintenance support is 800, so motion passed. Get that done. Okay, now let's go back to the big one. Let's talk about the ACA. Oh, no, before we do that, I just want to say that we don't need to vote on this, but the cleaning of the Allen Monument, or Allen gravesite, or stone, got done last week or the week before, and Leominster Monument was nice enough to go in. They came back twice, actually, because there was still some dark points to it, and they fixed that. So they, the cost of it was $350. It doesn't come out of our budget, it comes out from that trust. There won't be, there might be $100 left, we'll see again, there's interest on it in the next few years, what that's gonna be, but we'll, decide when the next, and if we can find that information regarding that trust, to move forward with that. So, like I said, Leominster Monument was awesome to, fit us in as quickly as they could and got that done, so that was awesome.
I'd like to look into, again, being on some of these Facebook pages, there's various solutions you can buy to treat stones and remove the, you know,
LG?
algae, fungus, things that are growing there. So, because, you know, I think with that trust spent down, there might not be enough money for quite some time to actually clean by outsourcing it, but there might be enough to buy some
Who would do
cleaning
it then?
products and ask a volunteer.
This is just my thought on that, is my caution is I went to a class when I first joined the Cemetery Commission, and they had a gentleman that's all he does. And you have to be careful of some of that stuff that you read and information, and that's my only concern is, you know, give it off to the professionals that knows what they're doing. I know that I have talked to Lemonster Monty about there is a spray that I keep hearing about. I'm not convinced, good, bad, or indifferent. I know there's a couple of people that do sell it. I just don't dare to go up to a stone and do it unless it's one of our stones, meaning one of those benches or something like that, to see if it works, which maybe we could try it on that, an old piece of stone, and see, but not on something that's already over there.
Yeah, agreed. You don't want to put the wrong chemical
Right,
on a stone and destroy it.
right,
Yeah.
because then we're liable.
Well, there are granite benches and stuff too that could use to be treated.
Right, well, that's what
Yeah.
that's what we're saying. So that is something, you know, if that's something that you want to look into, Mike, to see if there's something that, you know, that you do read across, or if, or send it to me, or whatever, however you'd like to do it, then we can look into more of that. Oh, and we can talk to Lemonster Monument to see if there's anything that they really recommend. So, getting off that, unless there's anything else. Mike?
That's it.
That's it? Okay. So, again, as we all know, there was a letter that went out by Heather, and it's explaining about that there is $313,000 in funding that hasn't been committed to projects from the opera funds. Now, my thought was, I think we should go forward, put a letter together, put some projects on there. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna get everything, and either will anybody else. So if, you know, again, if it goes to the committee and the select board selects some of ours, that's wonderful. But I do wanna bring to your attention that I, as on the on the cemetery commission, that I went a few years ago, actually it was last year, the legislature request went to the select board members, and there was another that went directly to Representative Michael Charismatic. I can never say his name right, my apologies. And so, with that being said, it was when you and I, Bill, I think we had someone come in and give us a whole historical stone wall restoration for both North and South Cemetery, and it was a cost of $197,000. But that was that redoing that section in North Cemetery that I think it was brought to our attention that there was some crumbling going on, and so on and so forth. So just know that not only are the Cemetery Commission trying to find us money, we're actually asking our representative is to earmark us money, and that's what was done. There was $38,000 for the monument restoration of North and South, which is the old stones. We did put in at that point the turf restoration of $50K. So basically, we were asking for that year of 2023 earmarking of $285,000 for both cemeteries. We also sent this off to the select board, so they had a copy of this, so they knew what we were doing. So that's been sitting out there, and it's my understanding that earmarking stays there until they either use it and it just keeps going on. But I think it's something that I will reach out to Michael and find out, you know, where are we on this? Is there any hope we'll get any of that? and to see, and I think that number for the stone wall going around both areas, I don't know if it would be as high as that. That was one person, so we may want to get another look at that, if everybody's in agreement with that. Is there any thoughts to what we should put onto trying to see if we can get this opera money, if there's any hope? My first thought is the skirt. Is because we've been, how long? Do you have anybody that can do that?
Yeah, yep, in the packet, it's what,
Oh.
second to last page.
Okay.
I have a cost estimate. It's from a year ago, it's $2,400. It'll probably be a little bit more now, but
Okay, what was it again? What was the price? Sorry.
2,400.
24, okay, that's what I thought. Do we want to, okay, so here's a question for both of you. Do we want to take that cost on ourselves, pay it to the cemetery commission, or do we want to try to put it in the APA? And go after something bigger for the opera piece and take care of the 24. So that means that we would take care of the 24. We've just done 2,600 for Lakeview. Fish Street, we said 5K.
Yeah.
So we've got to count 5.
So 5,000 for Fish Street
5,000
and 2,600 for Lakeview.
Lakeview, and then put another, what'd you say it was again? 20?
24, but it's a year old, the estimate's a
What
year
do
old.
you think, 26?
So, at least, maybe put 3,000 just
All right,
to,
put 3,000.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
was
gonna
gonna say
vote
a
on
little
it.
more, because,
Yeah.
do we have benches? You know,
They-
North Cemetery, the benches were
we,
set in.
we have the benches, yeah.
Yeah, so we have.
So they
those.
would be
He'll
put
set
into
those
it,
in?
yeah.
Oh, okay, great,
So
great.
how much does that come to?
10,600.
So the 17,000 that we're gonna see in there, we're gonna take out 10,000 and something, so, and that's what we'll have left for the year. But we can also go back to the town in November-ish timeframe, and if we need to do another warrant article, we can do that too. So it's not like we still don't have it. So that's why I'm asking, do you wanna put it into the ARPA funding, or do you want to take it out of our funds?
Personally, I would like to put it in, to pay for it. However, to know that we're spending 10,600, we got 17, so we're down to 7,000. That's not really a lot for,
But I just said we.
I know.
Right.
But what if they don't approve, the town doesn't approve the warrant for the extra? Then we're back.
I've never seen that they, I mean, again, it's our
It's your
money.
Yeah.
It's our money.
Then we're going back into using, okay.
I mean, I think the one thing you had brought up again, we have that money, that 80 some odd thousand. We do need to use a little bit of that because again, again, within reason, unless there's a big project. My thought is, this is just my humble opinion, is pay for the skirt from us and then put the two things that I see the most important. The first one is I've been brought up by different people that would like to see, and they're right, and I think Mr. Rogers would agree, is those veterans, that those gravestones that are so broken and they need to be fixed, they need to be rightened up, and they are standing up correctly, and also made sure that they're cleaned. I think that's one of the big ones that I would like to see in the opera, which was about 38.5. I have a call out to Leominster Monument and make sure that, because that was a quote that we got last year, I believe. So with that being said, I think it's gonna be about the same from what I heard, so. And that's what's
Yeah.
in the capital plan, is what we put in there.
Right. So just a word of caution on what you're requesting for ARPA funds. I think, like the Finance Committee and the Capital Planning Committee, they want to know what you're doing with the sale of lots money, the 88,000, right? They might say, well, spend that money first, then come to us. So I would say if you're gonna request anything, ARPA or capital planning, to have a game plan, you know, this is what we're projecting we're gonna spend, and this is why we need to come to you. And I think that would help you and
Well, yeah,
help
I
the
was
request
planning
a
on
long
doing
way.
that, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
but I don't see, you know, when you say spend that money first, you know, realistically, you gotta put something in reserve. You gotta keep some money back.
Sure.
You know, 25, 50,000, whatever.
Yeah.
There's gonna be things that happen, it's gonna be huge,
right,
Right,
that we have to have money.
right.
Right,
So,
I don't wanna tell them that, well, we're gonna spend the 87,000, and then we'll come to you and ask for more.
agreed. So, but I think you need to explain that to them.
Oh, I
because
will be.
They're just gonna say, you have money, spend your money. We're not gonna give you any. And you,
Right.
you know, we want a good shot at getting something, right? So
Right.
the more we explain what we're doing, the
exactly, and
better
that's why
chance
I'm
we
going
have.
to, right, exactly. Yes, I think that's important, and it's important to have the letter put in. So what do people think about that 38.5 to put into the ARPA?
I think that's good,
Yeah.
because I would look at, like, must-do, short-term, and I think the skirt has to get done as soon as possible.
So do you
because
put the
it's-
skirt, so let's stop on that one again. Do we put the skirt in, we'll pay for the skirt,
Right,
the cemetery commission,
right.
and then the opera fund will do that next piece? Do we want to make a motion today? Well, we don't really know the price yet,
Price for,
the skirt.
oh, well,
Can we go?
I would say at least, I would allot $3,000 for it. That should cover it.
Okay, so let's just say today, not to exceed 3,500.
3,000.
So not to exceed 3,500, just in case it's like 3,100, so we don't have to come back and vote on it again. That's what we did with the flowers. Is everybody okay with that?
That seems very reasonable.
Is that okay, Dave?
It's okay, I just want to make sure that when we say something like this and then we go out to them, whoever it's going to be, I don't want to let them, well, they
They're
know
not going
because,
to know.
they're going to know because of the meeting.
If they watch it.
You know, that's like going for a car
Well-
and telling them, well, I'm not going
I
to spend
think
more than
that's-
$30,000. And they say, oh, I got a car here for $30,000 for you.
It's up to
Yeah.
you guys. We can come back again and vote on it. I was trying to make it easier by just saying, as long as we don't exceed.
Yeah, because, I mean, my understanding from being on school committee, but you need, in the public, you have to present a you ask for bids at this
Yeah.
cost, here's what we have. You know, private sector, you'll say, I'll go out and solicit, and not. So it's kind of backward, but,
I mean,
I
you
don't
understand
think-
what I was saying, though.
yeah.
I just,
No, I get it. I'm just trying to make it easier
I
for
know,
us. So
I know.
you guys
Go ahead
decide.
and
If
put-
you want me not to do that, then,
no, we'll go ahead and say no more.
I mean, we did it on something else, and that's
Yeah.
why, again, that's the only reason I'm doing it. And I don't think Bill's gonna tell them, I'll ask for 35, because that's what they voted for, so.
Yeah.
I think he's just gonna go and find out, is that
Yeah,
the same cost?
Update your cost, that's all.
Right, exactly.
Right.
All right, so is everybody voting for that skirt for the South Cemetery at
Yes.
do not exceed 3,500?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All in favor?
aye.
Should I ju-
Motion pass.
Okay, so could I say Mike made the motion then? Mike-
Yep, that's-
Mike motion,
Yep. Sorry, I kind of went on.
exceed, and Dave seconded.
Now, I was thinking, again, two different items for the opera piece. The other piece is, are we ready to open up that back field because there's a need? Or do we still wait another year? My thought is, if the opera funding, and we could get it, if that's even possible, because there's nothing that's a sure thing, like you said, is either it's gonna come out of, like I said, is see if those are the two ones I was thinking of, is the backfield and also the, getting the old gravestones washed, so on and so forth, and fixed. what's everybody's thoughts on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the backfield, so right now, is it, all set up and allocated?
No.
This is what,
lots?
this is
No.
what this is gonna do for
Okay,
us.
so you need to,
This is what Dillis and Roy is gonna do for us.
they're gonna survey and create. a
Survey's
plot
already
plan
done.
And all that?
Plot plan's already done. They've just gotta go in and they've gotta now put everything how it's gonna be. The only thing we, out of that is with the trees, the few trees that needed to be taken down. There were there were like 2, maybe 3. So that would have to be done too.
Right, and maybe we want to open the discussion again on taking down more trees, some of the older trees, and, you know, with the acorns, and maybe planting a nice row of newer trees, say maples or something that's not gonna, you know, have acorns everywhere.
Are you talking about those trees that are so close to the wall?
No, the ones right up by the wall, I would leave all those,
Yeah.
right? The ones that kind of out in the middle, I would take those down and, yeah, let's plant a row or 2 of trees, make it look nice.
I think it's something we still need to talk about, because
Yeah.
I know what my feeling is of that, and I think by just talking again, people that, you know, are looking to maybe be buried there eventually, because they're the ones that have come, they love it, the fact that it's got the trees, and that means something to a lot of people,
Yeah,
that's the only thing,
And again, we won't touch the ones in the front, up by the wall.
yeah.
And that's what you see first, right? So,
You're talking about the new cemetery,
the new section in the back,
Section.
yeah.
I
But
personally,
if we take the trees down and plant new ones, what's the cost on that? You know, are we getting into more of an expense than just leave what's there and work
well,
around it?
there are a few there's a couple that are dead that
They're
have to.
dead, they
right,
have to come down.
That have to come
But
down.
if they're not dead, do we want to spend money to take down and then spend money to plant new ones? You know, we're already talking about a budget that we're starting to get into our our budget of 87 that we have in there, which, we're not keeping anything, so, for emergencies.
We are keeping, what are you saying? The 87 we're not touching yet.
That's right,
Right,
that's what I'm
okay,
saying.
Okay,
We don't want to touch it.
okay.
But if we start to cut down trees and plant trees, we're spending money that is not a necessity to spend at the moment.
Okay, so we know that piece, the tree things, we're gonna have to talk about. Okay, so we know that one of the piece. But again, we had talked about this before. From my understanding is, from the numbers, and am I correct, there are 80 to 100 still open graves or open lots that somebody can purchase, families can purchase. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that doesn't give the areas that you can't, because of, we're thinking it's so old that there may be double lots, that someone's buried on top of someone that we don't know, so we're not even gonna touch that. That doesn't include that, correct?
Right, these are
So we still have
usable
about 100.
roughly, yeah.
So again, I asked the question, when is the timing for this? With everything that's going on in this town, does this make the best timing to put that into APA? The reason I say yes is only because we have until 2026, it's my understanding, I think, to do this. That would give us another year or so to get it ready. Dillis and Roy, like I said, I had them quickly give me an estimate or a scope of work of how much that would be, and then whatever else we're thinking, money-wise. What do you think?
Yeah, I would get going on it.
Okay. Now, do we go back to that number of that 50K, which seems, after having this, a little out there, because I know we
Yeah.
had, again, we had talked about that.
Yeah, so if you're gonna request ARPA money, then they want to see something better than just 50K off the top of my head.
Right, exactly.
So,
That's why I had him do the scope. But now that
Right.
we're going
Well,
from
the-
50 to what this is.
yeah, well, this is just the engineering, right?
Right.
So I don't know if they can give us a quick number on what he thinks construction would cost.
I asked him that yesterday, but I can ask him back again.
That's a tough one without plans, right?
Well, they have the plans, though, for everything, because it's my
Well, they
understanding.
have the survey, right?
Right.
I suppose he could do some quick calcs on how much excavation and take
I
a
mean, do you
really
need to
rough
bring,
guess, but.
do you
it's-
need to bring in another, again, either Powell or something like that to, I know he came in to, we said we wanted to go one driveway, not two, so on and so forth.
Well, again, you need a final design,
Right.
you know?
So you need to complete the work, and then you can quote the next phase, which is installing
okay.
the road work.
So if we use, okay, in phases and say, okay, for this ARPA funding, we're only gonna go phase one for this, and then we'll have to, we know we'll miss the boat as far as not getting any more, but then we've done phase one and getting ready for phase two. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me, right? It shows we're planning. Yeah, and, we could say we sell roughly, well, we bury roughly 40 people per year, so we only have about 2 years, so, it's getting a little urgent. Kind of stress
Well,
that.
but I
Hopefully
haven't
they'll pay for
seen
this.
40, though. I thought last year it was 20-something, if I remember correctly, 23, sticks in my head.
It may have been, but it's about 40 per year, give or
Okay.
take. And, we're not necessarily selling
But they're
all those
not-
lots, because some of those lots are already purchased, right?
Right, and then obviously cremation versus full body. Full body's gonna take longer and so on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so how do we want to do this with the offer? Because I literally have to get this information to the select board by July 31st. So we need, because of open meeting laws, we have to talk about this now and get this exactly how you guys want it.
So if we do the first part, the first phase, that would be the 38, you said?
No.
No, what's the first?
38 is going to be the 38 will be in there on a project, which will be for the old stones.
This is 7,400, right?
Okay,
right.
74.
And then the first phase for the opening of the back.
That was 74.
Do you think I need to go back to Dillis and Roy and say, is there any, because I did ask him that yesterday, is there anything else that I'm missing or his thoughts were in it? And part of that is, don't forget, we're going up against conservation land, and that's why that's my personal opinion for the cemetery commission is, and I'm sure you think that way too, Bill, is to make sure that we're not cumbersome anything that's gonna cause us problem down the road.
Yeah, and that's part of its proposal, is
Right,
the wetlands
exactly,
flagging.
exactly.
And that'll tell you where
Right.
the trouble's gonna be.
Right. So in phase one, is there anything else you can think of, Bill,
What we should ask for ARPA money?
well, so what are we coming up with a phase one? Is it just the Dillis and Roy, or are we gonna put X amount of dollars more? Because it, again, in that capital funding, we've got 50K. Which I think that was everything at that point in time when we talked about. Yeah.
Are you going to request the cleaning, the 38,000?
Yeah, so I'm gonna put that in one, again, here's project one, and then this will
Yeah.
be project two.
Yeah, okay.
And then either they yay or nay, but on the project two, it will be, like I said, either phase one or something in there.
Yep.
And then phase two would be actually doing the construction work, paving, installing the roads.
They're not gonna pave they're not paving, or are they?
Well, it's up to us, I guess, but, to keep it more country-looking, maybe just do the regrinds,
Okay.
or
so
you
then
can even
that'll
just
be-
use gravel. Yeah. If you want to keep it more country-looking. So it's just going to be a short little driveway.
And it's
you know.
fairly level, so you're not
Yeah.
worried about, yeah.
So,
But that's also cleaning up everything that's over there, where the
Yep.
dirt is, the logs removed, all of that.
And what's the estimated number of plots then that would be there?
But depending on how many trees, upwards to 800.
Up towards the 800
Yeah,
plots.
so
if you
I
have,
think that was the number.
you have a road going in and you're just gonna have gravel, whatever,
Mhm.
how are the hearse gonna get in and back up?
They don't need to, because
Well, they could drive on it.
They could, but they can also come right up, we talked about that, coming up, depending on how they're gonna start. Are they gonna start on this direction or down here? Down here area is where the conservation is, and that's where there's going to be the graves, cremation
The
graves.
cremation
Right.
area. Yep.
So we're thinking that they will just park right upside the stone wall and then be able to carry it in that way. Or, again, go in, but then they'll have to back up.
Well, we can make it a T driveway so they can go in and back into
Right.
the T and then
That's
turn
what I was
around and come
wondering.
out.
And I think
We
we
should do
talked
that.
about that,
We should do that. And there's a space for it.
right.
Okay.
But going back to these lots, when you just
Yeah.
asked the 800, it depending on the trees.
Okay.
So I guess my question would be if the planning in stages, the second stage would be, what, the construction, like you, like.
Right,
like you're saying.
construction, the gravel roads.
And how, first of all, we gotta figure out how much that's gonna be, and secondly, how we're gonna get the funding, if it's gonna be 2 years down the road?
Because we're going to save enough in that, with that still growing, that's what will come out of that, for that. Meaning, or we're splitting it, because we've never done that. The
Right.
Cemetery Commission, as of today, has never put money into opening up an expansion. It's always been underneath either capital planning and/or DPW. So we have to come to some sort of an agreement how we're gonna do that. When funds are, like I said, when the town right now is struggling with funding. So what's fair? That's the way I look at it. Would you agree?
Yeah, and for this, is that field gonna be pretty much kept the way it is? I mean, it's not gonna be a total bulldoze and,
Yeah, well, right now it's too high in the back and too low in the
Oh,
front, so it
okay.
puddles in the front, so you gotta
okay.
shift some of it over,
All
right?
right, so there could be a
Level
lot
it
of
out.
site work there.
Yeah.
And then the- Okay,
But the site work would be done by like a Powell or something like
Yeah.
that, is that right?
okay.
Could
Am I
we-
right on
Yeah,
that? Okay.
yeah.
Can we put phases in to this and let the town decide if they're gonna take phase 1 or 2? Or do we have to put it as a big number?
We don't have a cost for phase 2, that's the issue.
That's a problem, that's what
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
coming up, but we don't have a cost for phase 2.
Okay, but the 50,000 you mentioned in the beginning, what was that?
That's under the capital planning.
Right, and that was just frankly a wild guess, just to get a number out there. But
Which,
they're not gonna
They're
bite
not
on a
gonna-
wild guess, they
Oh,
want to
yes.
see facts.
right, and the other thing we did,
So from past experience, you don't know, or you can't tell us
They've
from your
never been
past
past
experience how
experience.
much phase 2 would be for, have you ever done anything like this before for
Yeah,
construction?
yeah, but you need to know a little bit about what Phase 1 plan looks like. And we could take a guess on what that's gonna look like, and take a guess on, you know, how much it would cost to do Phase 2.
But they're not gonna want guessing. They're gonna-
Yeah,
No,
at this point,
no, I think,
with the
So we're gonna have to do
competition,
just Phase
I
one.
wouldn't do it.
Right.
no. So I think we just put in, is everybody in agreement, though? We
Yeah.
put in the Phase 1, which is
Right.
Dillis and Roy.
Right, would you have a solid number?
We have a solid number, and that's what we're putting in. Is that what everybody's agreement on? Okay.
let's do that.
And we're gonna put the 38,000, which is the old stone, so we'll have two things in there. Here's
Yeah.
project 1, here's project 2, this is what it is, this is what this is all about, this is what this one's about. Is everybody,
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
And then, you know, we can always present when we need Phase 2 money, well, we didn't put in for ARPA for that, someone else got that, so we're coming back at town meeting to ask for this, for
right, or capital
Phase 2.
planning?
Yeah,
Okay.
capital plan.
So, and the pieces that I think, and we can talk about this later, but that we should have probably, again, not knowing this either, is put this out wider. 2026, I know you've got some prices in here. When does the capital planning go back again? They'll start up again.
Like October, yeah.
Okay, so we need to do something to sit down for that meeting, correct?
Yeah, yeah, we should, yeah, before October,
Okay.
maybe the late September meeting, talk about, yeah, what projects we want to put into that.
Okay. All right, so I'm just writing myself a note. Okay. Okay, so do we need to vote on this? Do you want to, does that feel better to vote on it, saying, yep, we're going to take this forward, we're going to put this to the, we're going to, for the opera funding, to see if there's any possibility of that 313,000. Send a letter to the select board. We're going to put in, again, that 38,000 for the old stones, and then project 1, or project 2, which is the Phase 1, which is the Dillis and Roy, for that back area.
Was there anything else we wanted to ask for, or was this it?
Well, you tell me. I'm trying to, I know there's going to be a lot of people going after this, I'm sure,
Yeah.
313,000, so I'm trying to do what we really, really need versus, yeah, sure, here's a candy store and I wish we could have it all, but that's what I'm trying to do. Is there anything else? The only other thing I can think of is there is an area that Dave, you have mentioned, again, going into North Cemetery. South Cemetery looks pretty good, but North Cemetery, there's an area as you drive in that driveway, it's down by that one tree. It's really crumbling bad. I don't know how much
Yeah.
that would cost. It's only probably from here to that wall area.
The roadway?
Crumbering,
roadway.
There's a route going across the road.
Yeah. I don't know if,
Is that, the up area, up by the Nishwa?
so go in, so the niche wall is to your left and you go down around and it's right there on that
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah,
The in part, the road that says in only.
right.
So you could go up to where the new section was of where the road was, take it out a little bit, and then it's fine.
Right.
So it's only a small, well, big enough area, but do you want that in there? And I don't know what is the cost that would be. I know,
Yeah, I'd have to work out a price. And just thinking about it, it's
Probably-
falling apart because of the roots. If you cut the roots, you're gonna kill the tree. So
Right.
you probably wanna go up and over. That's it. I don't know.
all right, so maybe,
Maybe you just do the graded base, if you want to keep the roots intact,
Yeah. Yeah, take out the pavement.
take the pavement out.
Or take the tree down and cut the root.
no,
Yeah, it's a beautiful tree.
no, that's a beautiful tree. And you know what? There's a duck that goes in there. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen them this year, but last year, yeah, so that's a duck's tree. No, I think
We'll
it's,
just leave it.
I think that's what makes this cemetery so beautiful is the trees, but that's, like I said, not trying to be a tree hugger, but at the same time, I like to save the
I do
trees.
think that we need to figure out a way of going up and over that route though, so we would have to take the route out.
Okay, so we're in agreement what we're doing, we're just gonna put
Just do
two
that.
things on those two. Let's vote on it, just in case, if we needed it, it's on there, it will be in our minutes that we voted on it, so everybody's in favor of the two projects that I'm gonna put together for the ARPA funding to send to the select board, 38,000 for the old stones, and then, what was this total?
38,000 for the old stones and 7405 for the site planning of the backfield.
Yep. Okay, anybody wanna make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do the 38K for the stone repair and cleaning, and the 7401 for the, 7405 for the backfield site.
Okay, and just know that 38, I keep saying 38, it's 38.5, just to be technical.
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, unless there's anything else, I think we can adjourn, is,
Madam Chairman,
yes,
can I ask a couple of quick questions?
absolutely.
In Dave Rogers, 82 Highland Street, in terms of housekeeping, I would recommend that you have a public comment section in the beginning and one at the end,
Okay,
so that people, crowd can give you their input.
I know, we haven't had that, okay, I'll
Okay.
make sure we add that.
To say that I'm confused about a bunch of things would be an understatement. And I'll give you a couple of quick questions. How many new sales are there per year for the cemetery?
Off the top of my head, I do not know.
Okay, that's a very important number, because you can have all sorts of commitments, not commitments, burials, but if they have been in the family for years, it doesn't factor into the, so that's a very important thing. I don't understand why we would have outside companies do any work on the back property, so-called, because I think we have, the way I envision this, we have the wherewithal to do part and parcel of this, depending upon how many we need, but that's a operational thing, okay? I really don't understand what perpetual care is.
Okay, so do you not understand, when you say you don't understand, you mean what the perpetual care, the terminology of it?
No,
or-
no, I've got that.
Okay,
Because
all right.
I didn't leave.
No,
in good-
sorry.
That's okay, that's okay. We have a lot in the North Cemetery, and Karen handled it, so when we bought that, did we buy perpetual care?
Yes,
We did.
yes,
Okay, and how much was that perpetual care?
300,
$300 and there's no more expense for that?
correct. That's what we're talking about, is
Sure.
that,
Okay, because, it's got to be wrapped in there, because if somebody had the option, they might say, they're going to cut this grass and do all this, and why do I want to spend $300? Right? So, and how much are the lots? I'm embarrassed to ask you. Roughly.
New prices.
have you got the price there? Because I know we changed that.
Yeah, I'm sure I could dig it up. Might take me a little bit.
No, just roughly.
What are they now?
800?
800?
800, I think it's $800 per,
Okay, 800, okay. And that
so
takes care of how many plots?
one, 800. So if you have obviously a family or two of you, it would be 1,600.
Okay, so, one on top of the other, or the?
Nope,
Side by
side by side.
Side by each.
Now, that means full burial. If you also have cremations, you can also have, like, let's just say you have a whole family.
Yeah.
And your children want to be cremated.
Sure.
Then you can have, is it 4? I think it's 4 on top of a full burial for each, so you'd have 8, if I'm
Okay.
correct. Am I correct on that?
I think so, yeah. It says 10 cremations per,
Oh, so it's 10,
10.
okay.
right. Well, not, if,
No, that's
just
cremations, right.
yeah.
Okay, so if I buy one lot, just
Just you.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way things are going sometimes at 82 Highland Street, you know, she won't let me near her. Just kidding. If I buy one lot, right,
Yeah.
how many will that accommodate?
One lot?
Yeah.
Just
One?
you.
One full burial,
One
One
full
full
burial.
burial.
Yeah.
How many cremations?
10.
So I could have 10 cremations or one one burial.
Right.
burial.
But if he does the one burial, he could have, it's my understanding, I think it's 4.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many cremations.
We know you can also have cremation on top of you, meaning if
Yeah.
you, like I said, if you had other family members
Yeah.
that wanted to be cremated, they can be on top of you. We're not gonna, I don't think it's any more than 4. It may be only 2, but I believe I remember in the back of my head that it's 4.
Now, does that mean that there's a possibility of 5? Or you could have 4 cremations or one full burial?
10 cremations or one full burial,
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
Does that make
So-
sense? I
yeah.
wanna make sure you get it, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Don't forget, you've been the last to let me down.
Yeah, so
That was a joke.
I got it.
Yeah, but it's a 2 grave minimum.
All right, the real thing from my standpoint is you have to understand what your needs are going to be going forward. This is basic. You guys forgot more about this, right? So the ability to have 800 is predicated on need and that kind of thing, but it can be done on a planned program, I guess. So many years you open up an area so that you can get more people in. So a lot of this depends upon what your cash flow is going to be.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to get to today, is talk about what is the best timing for exactly.
Yeah, so if you have between 80 and 100 that can go in right now, right? That's all new, right?
correct.
Okay, so that should be factored in, because I know they're going to ask you these kind of questions
Right.
going forward. Well, what do you need 800 for if you've got 80? And how many burials do you have per year? Not cremations.
How is it separated? I'd have to look, but roughly 40 total per year, on average.
40.
So you're gonna have, so what I've seen through the years, for the last few years, is
Yeah.
people, again, it's more costly to put a full body in than it is a cremation.
Sure.
So we're seeing it shifting a little bit. So I would say half and half, or a little less than half, meaning more of the cremations versus the full
I
burials.
agree.
Yeah, statistically, that's true. There are more cremations than, standard. So that's all going to be factored in. The bottom line on this thing is, and I understand your position, Dave, and I agree with it. You've got to be really careful, because you don't have a lot of money to
Right.
to play with here. Okay, so you have to spend it wisely. And I don't mean that from a sarcastic standpoint.
No.
I mean, it's when you ask for money, make sure you ask for stuff that you really need, because they'll cut your legs off, So, anyway, that's my candid 2 cents worth of thing.
No,
And
we-
I'm sorry I
thank
took
you.
so much of your time, but it's,
No?
Isn't this the most important, what's the capacity of the
Absolutely.
cemetery? And when is it going to run out?
absolutely.
Forget about mowing lawns
Yeah.
or
Well,
And we're at,
Well,
you got to take care of your,
well, we're
I
at,
understand, yeah, yeah.
we're at, what, 4 years?
Right. The potential to
Because
run out in 2 years is there. Is it realistic? Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's potentially 2 years, so.
Yeah, and,
But-
and you have done, we've done no work.
right.
So you've got to do the site
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And that's why,
Then you got to do,
I
so
agree.
Yeah.
you could be down to 2 years.
right,
Right.
Well, and the other piece is, the most important piece is, we have people that want to be out in that back lot. They don't want, even though we have X amount of
Yeah.
ones in there now, they don't want those. They want to be out there.
so I guess from my standpoint, and that makes sense, if you're going to develop the back part, so-called, you've got to come up with a plan, not necessarily for 800, but rather for what what you think you might need for how many years? 4, 5 years, and do it incrementally as you go.
Right.
That's my suggestion that you would see, but
Are you saying that the construction would be incremental instead of
yes,
doing?
that's what I'm
Then
suggesting.
you're going to be
More
having
expense.
machinery coming, well, two things. You're going to have machinery come in while you have people buried to do the second and third part.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is going to be what the price is this year for doing the first 100.
Yeah,
It's going to be maybe double this next year
right.
to do the next part.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering if we do it all for the lower
That
price.
certainly is a way to do it, but and I'm not explaining it correctly, but from my standpoint, you can design the whole thing out and put the roadways in and that sort of
Okay.
thing. And then you can,
Open up
Yeah.
certain
Yeah,
areas.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's reasonable. Okay.
But and how do you tell? I mean, in terms of cremations are up, I mean, exponentially,
Well, and don't forget, we have the niche wall. There is still X amount of ones that are on the niche wall. Like, if you didn't want to be put into the ground and you
Yeah.
wanted to be put into the niche wall, we still have openings there, too.
How many there?
There's got to be a good 40,
At least.
at least.
If not more.
Probably more like 60.
Yeah, okay.
So we definitely, like I said, those haven't been as popular as we thought they would be when Lance had the vision to put that together.
Well, it's a very popular way, because people are really concerned about price, et cetera.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
All right. I've taken much too much of your time. but,
No, I thank you for bringing that up.
This is, the final message I have for you is, you really have to understand the financial aspects, because it's not like you have all kinds of extra money.
Right.
And for the life of me, I don't understand the current budget as it pertains to the cemetery and the DPW. Who pays for what, okay, and that sort of thing. So this is going to be an interesting example of how this thing is going to sort out, because it's different.
It was difficult when I first came on, too.
Sure. Well,
To
see,
figure it out.
yeah, you're a hell of a lot smarter than I am. So, I mean, I'm still,
No, not at all.
I think the hard piece is when you look back in the past, and nothing was done like this as far as the cemetery commission, it never came out of our budget.
no,
And so, but you have to then look across the board and you have to say, okay, how much can you actually get X amount of dollars? If we still have X amount of dollars that we can give to some areas, that's what has to be decided, because in our purview from the state level, we are to make things beautiful in there as far as put projects together. If it's whatever you want to put in there, stone wall, whatever the pieces are, is to tie everything in together.
Sure.
That's what we do. It's never been done as far as to open up a place. But I also, again, when you're looking at the town that, that maybe has not going to have the money for it, then if they're asking for our help, then in my eyes, we need to look at that and see
Yeah.
how we can negotiate that.
I
Would
think,
everybody agree with that?
I think the other thing is, originally when I came on, and still is, that DPW's in charge of maintenance. We do the regulations and all that. But then, what is the dividing factor of maintenance? Putting the stone wall back up, is that maintenance? Putting a driveway in, doing the cutting of the grass? At what point do they
Stop and they take
not
over.
want to pay,
Yeah.
So that's still, I think it has to be,
It's got to be
Figured out
sorted
and
out,
more-
but let me give you some quick
just like
advice.
Mr. Passio said at one time.
I looked,
He usually sits there.
yeah, I know.
The charter doesn't really define.
No, it doesn't. It's
Right.
convoluted, it's crazy.
Right.
But the quick answer, when asked whose responsibility is it, you just point to them, right there. Hey, here's yours, but I'm being facetious, but, anyway, we'll sort it out, but thank you for your time. I
No,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate it.
All right.
Do you understand about perpetual care now?
Huh?
You got it all set now,
All
right?
right, yeah,
There'll be a test tomorrow.
yeah, that's right. I got a mind like a trap.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Before we adjourn, can I just make one request for the next meeting? Because you guys been going back and forth with how many lots are open still. When I talked to the superintendent about a year ago, maybe a little bit less than that, it was 40 to 60 lots open. And then it came back now that there's 80 to 100. I'd like to get a firm count, even if we have to call Rainmaker,
We don't need to call him Rainmaker.
well, whoever, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I'd like to get a firm,
That's not what they do anyway.
well,
Yep.
plotting it out. Isn't it plotted out?
Yeah, but it's,
Okay,
we can pull
Yeah.
that.
so I'd like by next time a definite count for North and South Cemetery, so we know what we're talking about.
I agree.
Because I'm getting different numbers, and we're going by different numbers, so.
Well,
That's all.
count and location, because, well, like you said,
Yeah, he said north
some
and
some
south.
people are, we may have lots we never sell in north and south because they're just,
Well, some of the ones in North Cemetery have ledge that we can't sell.
right,
So,
Right. Some of that's blocked out on Rainmaker, but
It is.
some are not. There's some Rainmaker shows as available.
Okay.
But when you actually go and look, it's in the middle of a road.
well, if you can bring a copy, I guess the superintendent has a plot plan of what's available. He showed it to me once. Maybe you can make copies of that and bring it. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
on the same note, find out how many's on that niche wall too, because I'm going by my brain as far as remembering when I counted the last time.
Last time I counted was 18, I think, that was in there. On the niche one, you're talking about the?
Yeah.
I think.
18
No.
used, right? So how many-
18 used,
so how
but
many
we're trying to
available?
figure
Well,
out, right.
Yeah, you have to, how many were built?
Yeah,
No one knows?
sure. Well, we know, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
Right.
Motion
Okay.
to adjourn at,
Wait, anything else for anyone before we adjourn?
I'm
Everybody
good.
set? Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
motion to adjourn at 10:50 a.m.
second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we are adjourned.